Adrian Hernandez. Let's go.
Appreciate it. What's going on, everybody? How we doing today? Oh, that's more energy than I thought after lunch. Right on. Let's do this. Before we get started, do you guys are, by a show of hands, and if you guys say, shh, let's bring the, yeah, there we go. Thank you. How many of you guys are here to change your lives? Raise your hand. All right, there you go. How many of you are here to grow your real estate portfolio by a show of hands? All right, cool. So then with that being said, how many of you by a show of hands are ready to play all out for the next 30 minutes? Can I get a show of hands there? All right, awesome. So if I say to do something, let's just try to do it, right? It may feel a little awkward, but let's just try to do it, right? One thing I've noticed, when we start to do things we've never done before, we start to have things we've never had before. So we're going to shift things up in the room a little bit. Is that fair? Is that okay with everybody? All right, awesome. Now, because of my height, I'm going to stand up here so you can all see me. Can you all see me now? Good. A little bit better? All right, cool. Let's do this, guys. Let's give a round of applause for all the speakers that spoke this morning. Let's give a round of applause. And because I know you just came back from lunch, what we're going to do is we're all going to stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. If you're already standing, good job. Everybody stand up. And we're just going to stretch it out. And when we stretch it out, let's do a loud moan. Let's put your hands up and go to the right. And, oh, there we go. To the left. All right. Give your partner a high five for showing up this morning, this afternoon. Give your partner a high five. All right, I love it. I love it. You guys can all take a seat. Thank you for playing all out. I love it. So if you guys do not know who I am, my name is Adrian Hernandez. I own a real estate company. I'm from Orange County, California. I own a real estate company in Dana Point, California. But I own a wholesale company. We do about 200 transactions a year. Our goal this year is to get to $5 million. That's the goal. We'll close at about 189. I say 200. I just rounded up, right? A little fluff, right? But we're really about 189, to be honest with you guys. And with that being said, guys, this has not been a very easy journey. How many of you guys, by a show of hands, have been through some in your life? Just by a show of hands. Come on. Yeah, and if you're not raising your hand, right, you know you're lying to yourself. Well, I'll start off the story, guys. I'm from a little town called Huntington Park, California, and you guys know where that's at in Los Angeles. It's the hood, right? It's the hood. My real father was involved in a gang. We look at all this, and I really didn't know my real father until I was a sophomore in high school. I was just about to get my driver's license, and I have to show up to the DMV. You guys, if you guys can lower the talking, please. There's people that. Cool, thank you. I was going to the DMV, and I had to show up with my birth certificate. And all of a sudden, I see this additional last name on my birth certificate, and I'm like, Mom, what's this? Hey, Dad, what's this, right? What's this Espinoza name? I thought I was Adrian Hernandez. What the hell's going on? Well, come to find out that my real father had passed away when I was about a year old. Come to find out that his best friend actually, because there's gang-related, anybody, that knows that world, right? His friend actually shot him by a quote-unquote drive-by, which was not true. But I tell this story, guys, because of one of two reasons. I know a lot of people where shit happened to them at a very young age, and they held on to it. Shit happened to them at 20, 30, 40 years old, and you're still holding on to it. I had a choice to make. I had a choice where I can either hold on to it or I can let it go and build a better version of myself. And I say this because when I finally realized that I lost my father, I made a decision. I made a decision that the day I meet him in heaven, he will meet the best version of me. Let me ask you all a question. Thank you. I appreciate that. I want you to think about somebody in your life that is no longer on earth. Maybe a parent, maybe a kid, maybe a grandfather, grandmother. You guys think of anybody that is no longer here? Let me just ask you a question. If they were to come back to earth, if they had one last chance to do it all over again, do you think they would play all out? Do you think that they would not buy into all of the insecurities and all of the shit that held them back? Do you think that they maybe have done things a little bit different? Because let me hit you all with something if you haven't realized this. We are not guaranteed to be here. There's only one thing, and Ryan said this yesterday. There's one guarantee in life, and that's death. And let me ask you all a question. The day that you die, will you meet the best version of yourself, or will you meet the person you could have became? It's just a question. Would you meet the person you could have became, or would you meet the best version of yourself? And that all comes down to a couple of different things. That all comes down to, number one, the thoughts that are in our head and the limiting beliefs that are holding us back. You guys, I was bullied in high school. I was bullied in school. I mean, I'm only 5'5" on a good day. I have a lot of insecurities that used to hold me back. And I can either allow those insecurities to let me be the worst version of myself, or I can allow those insecurities to propel me forward. And you all have the same option. You all have the same opportunity. Because if that person that passed away that you thought about, if you can look them in the eye, if they can look you in the eye, let's just be honest with ourselves. Would you say you're playing full out right now? Would you say that you're giving it your all right now? And if the answer is no, then we have to make a decision today to change. We have to make a decision to talk to ourselves a little bit more positively. We have to make a decision to say some affirmations, to say some incantations, to visualize a new life, because if not, time will go by. And before you know it, you're meeting the person you could have became. And how will that feel? Nonetheless, the person that you thought about that passed away, what if they met the person that you could have became? What if they're looking at you going, if only you just tried a little bit more, brother. If only you just didn't give in to those insecurities. If only you just didn't allow the bullshit to hold you back. I mean, I don't know, how would that feel? I know for me, that wouldn't feel too good. I know for me, I would want to do life a little bit different. And here's the great thing. We all have the opportunity to change. And I'm going to tell some things that drastically helped me change my life, guys, because at the end of the day, I was not born with a silver spoon. As a matter of fact, the odds of me being here, I shouldn't be here. My mom didn't even know she was pregnant of me until it was too late to get rid of me. My mom didn't even know she was pregnant of me until it was too late. It was too late. I asked her, Mom, if you found out earlier, do you think I would still be here? She can't answer the question. Because the 19-year-old her would probably say no. So the odds of each of you being in this room are against you. We shouldn't be here, but we are. And we have a gift. And that gift is a little thing called life. And there's some things that I did, guys. There's some things that I had to change to get me to where I'm at today. And don't get me wrong, I don't got any of this shit figured out. I'm still learning. I call Ty all the time. I call Mike all the time. I'm still learning. We're all still learning. No one has it figured out. And guess what? The day you have it figured out is the day you're wrong. Life is all about learning. Life is all about getting better. Life is all about just improving. However, I know this. There's a lot of self-talk. There's a lot of self-negative talk in this world. There's a lot of self-negative talk in each and every single one of you. How many of you guys talk to yourself negatively? Say negative affirmations to yourself by a show of hands. Come on, be real. I know I did. I know I did in high school. I'm short. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I got big ears. All this shit that didn't serve me. God gave you one mouth and 2 ears for a reason. God gave you one mouth and 2 ears for a reason. You listen with 2 ears. But I want to hit you with something. Every single time you talk to yourself, you are reinforcing that thought. So when you say things to yourself like, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I will never be able to do as many YouTube videos as Michael, you're right. Because you just reinforced it. You just reinforced it. So there's some little things, and, I heard Jason talk about affirmations and incantations. You see, every single day I wake up and I say, I now demand my subconscious mind to direct me in helping as many people as possible today to better their lives by giving me the strength, the persuasion, the bravery, the humor, whatever it takes to show these people, to get these people to change their lives now. God's wealth circulates in my life. God's wealth flows to me in avalanches of abundance. All of my needs, desires, and goals are met instantaneously by an infinite intelligence, and I give thanks for all of my good now and for all of God's riches, for I am one with God, and God is everything. Every single day I say that to myself. Every single day. And do you think my day is a little bit different? You see, if I was to wake up and say, fuck, here we go again. Another day. How would my day be? You guys choose the affirmation day or the day that you're just beating yourself up. How many of you guys have those days, by show of hands, where like you wake up and you're like, no, I'm just going back to bed, right? And let me ask you a question. Does that move you towards who you could become or away from who you become? Come on, participate. Towards or away? Away. And let me ask you, do you guys want that or would you rather have the opposition? How many of you want to acquire a lot of real estate in this room by show of hands? One thing I've found is it's not in the actions you take, it's in the belief that you have about you acquiring those. So we're going to try something. Do me a favor. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Yeah, it's right after lunch. I'm going to get you to move, baby. I'm going to get you to move. All right, we're going to say a series of affirmations, and we're going to say a series of incantations. And what I want you to do, if you notice the partner next to you not saying them, like tap them on the shoulder, tap her on the shoulder. Come on, come on. Now's the time to speak up. Nobody's going to judge you here. This is a judge-free room. Can you guys all agree this is a judge-free room? All right. So with all of our might, you're just going to repeat after me. We're going to say some affirmations. And what I want you to do is I want you to take an inventory. I want you to just right now, take an inventory of how you feel. Okay, just after lunch, food settled, right? Little full here, right? Right, you guys, status check, got it? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to do some affirmations, and I'm going to ask you how you feel afterwards, cool? All right, are you ready? So, just repeat after me. I'm alive, and I'm excited, and I'm full of energy. Let's go, everybody. I'm alive, I'm excited, and I'm full of energy. I am a millionaire. I am a millionaire. I'm a multi-million-dollar investor. I'm alive, I'm excited, and I'm full of energy. Give your partner a high five for playing all out. Great job. Just a question. Do you feel better now than when you started? You're alive, right? You're excited. You guys, these are all of the little things that I had to do. You see, every single day and you guys can take a seat, every single day when I woke up, I had to tell myself affirmations. I had to scream at myself in the mirror in order for me to change what was going on in my mind. Because remember this, what goes in your mind is how you feel. How you feel is what you take the actions on. The actions you take then create the result. If you want a different result, change what's going on up here. Change the loudspeaker, okay? When I first met Ty, I was a very shy, as he said. I was like, some of you are thinking, you are not an introvert, dude. You are crazy, right? When I first met Ty, I was shy. I was timid. And guess how much money I was making? Jack shit. So what I had to do, and he helped me with this, is I had to create a whole new version of me. I had to create a whole new version of myself, a version that didn't give up, a version that believed in something greater, a version that all of you have a next version of you. Do you know what it looks like? It's a more vibrant, more powerful, more passionate, more loving, more in tuned. How many of you rather have that life? How many of you rather have that life? And I say this because, you guys, when I was 16 years old, 15 years old, I was a sophomore, so 15 and a half. When I found out that happened, I could allow myself to live in this shit, and I can allow it to hold me back, or I could allow it to propel me forward. And I just want you all, if any of you are taking notes, I want you to write down, what is the shit that's holding you back? What happened in your life that you chose to anchor you, and now you can't move forward because that anchor has been there for so long? Write it down, or just think about it. What we have to do is we have to make the decision to break away from that anchor. We have to make a decision, and a conscious decision today, to make that change. Because remember this, Tony Robbins said this best, and you may have heard it from Ed Milet, you may have heard it from anywhere else, but the source was Tony Robbins, make no mistake about it. I love you, Ed. I'm just voicing it here. Tony said, life does not happen to you. Life happens for you. everything that you've ever been through in your life is the reason why you are going to succeed. Every single thing that happened in your life is the reason why you are going to propel forward, not what's going to hold you back. Because if life happens for us, then that means all of the shit was there. You need to be thankful for it. Probably going to get a little emotional, but I think, and as hard as this is to say, I'm thankful that my dad's not here. Because I'd probably be in a gang. I'd probably still be in Huntington Park. You see, there was a gentleman by the name of Tony Granados who stepped into my life, who is who I call my dad. And he was the guy who changed my life. His brother was the one who got into real estate. We moved from Huntington Park, Southgate, to Rancho Cucamonga. And if it wasn't for that, I will not be here today. So as much as you guys look at all the shit that happened and you blame everything and everyone, how about you learn to give thanks to everything and everyone? Tony says that this game, success, is 80% psychology, 20% resourcefulness. 80% psychology. It's 80% what goes on in our mind. 20% is the actions we take. 20% of your success is the actions. 80% is the shit that is going on in the most expensive real estate in the world, and that is your mind. How have you been treating it? Have you been treating it good, or have you been beating yourself up? And if you have, let's make the choice right now to change. And if you are, I just want you to shout out, yes! Yes! All right, half of you. Let's do it again. If you're really to make that change, I want you to shout out all together, 1, 2, 3, yes! There we go. Now is the moment. It is in the moments of decision that your destiny is changed. But we have to start to make that decision. And then what I had to do is I had to start getting people that would hold me accountable to this. So number 2 is after I start speaking good affirmations and I start talking to myself good and I start realizing the good that's in my life, now I need someone to hold me accountable. Because my buddy Joe DiRaffaele told me this. When you go to the ghetto, you never want to go alone. You want to always bring someone with you. That way, if some shit happens, they can pull you out, right? Well, guess what? Your mind is like the ghetto. Don't ever go there alone. The moment you get in your mind, reach out to someone. Hey, dude, I'm in my shit. I'm starting to go back to the thing that happened when I was a 5-year-old kid, right? I'm starting to go back to the things that happened in middle school, in elementary school, and it's starting to bring me right back to where I'm at. Can you help me? Can you help me, Ty? Just get me out of this. You guys know how many tough conversations I've had with him? Because I want to hold on to the anchor because it's real comfortable. It's real comfortable holding on to that anchor because it's familiar. And things that are familiar, we want to continue to have. It's nice and cozy. But nice and cozy doesn't get you the units. Nice and cozy doesn't get you the real estate. Nice and cozy doesn't get you millions of dollars. All it does is keep you exactly where you're at. And I know a lot of you want to move forward. And because of that, we have to have some accountability partners. You guys with me here? You guys following what I'm saying? Awesome, I love it. So then I go through this, right? I go through this and, I start speaking to myself positively, and all of a sudden I start creating a better life. And we all know that life is ebb and flows, right? We all know that life is ebb and flows. So once things start to get good, all of a sudden I get into real estate and I start making some money. And then all of a sudden I start losing money. And all of a sudden, I go and open a brokerage because I thought it was cool. We moved from Rancho Cucamonga to Orange County. And I'm with my fiance at the time, and we moved to Orange County, and guess what happens? I go from making $450,000 a year, I'm like 25 at the time, to making about $100,000 a year. I had all this money that I thought I was getting that vanished because I went and do something that was not my true, authentic self. We just heard Sean talk about be your true, authentic self. I started to do things that wasn't aligned with who I am. I started to become a person that I was not. Have any of you guys ever played a different persona of who you are? Have any of you guys tried to be somebody that you're not? Where did that get you? As a matter of fact, it took me 10 steps back. Because, see, I had worked so hard to try to make $1 million as an agent. And then I thought I would go be this manager, broker, owner, even though I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew deep down inside that wasn't who I was. But yet I tried to do it. I did something that I knew I shouldn't have done, and it set me backwards. I could have easily threw it in the towel. I could have easily said, fuck this, I'm out. Why am I even trying? Have any of you ever been there? But instead, I remembered my training. I remembered the affirmations. I remembered that if what I went through as a kid, I can go through it now and I can change it. So what happens, guys, is I finally make a decision. I say, you know what? I'm shutting down the brokerage. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to leave something behind. I had to leave behind the old me. I had to leave behind the non-true, authentic self. I had to leave it behind. And guess what happens? We open up a real estate wholesale company, and I'm trying to make $1 million, and all of a sudden, boom, we make $1 million in 11 months. How does that happen? That happens because I was willing to accept the things that I had to let go of. I was willing to look myself in the mirror and say, this is not who I am. A lot of you need to look yourself in the mirror and realize this is not who you are. There's a bigger version of you. There's a bigger version that's trying to chase you, but we're doing things that are not in alignment with who we are. So if you're taking notes, I want you to write down the biggest superpower in life is knowing thyself. Knowing thyself. Zuber and I talk about being an entrepreneur or an employee. I had 22 jobs growing up. 22 jobs. I know what it's like to be an employee. 22 jobs. I know some of you looking at me like, 22, what the fuck? Are you crazy? Right? There was something there that was telling me I wasn't an employee. Because the moment I started getting good at something and I started getting orders, I'm like, dude, screw you, I'm out. And then I would go next door, and I was so good at interviewing, I was so good at the job that I would get the job next door. I worked at, I remember this, it was like a shopping center. I worked at every single store in the shopping center. Like every single shop, I just worked at all of them. And then the owner would come over and be like, what the fuck are you? And I'm like, yeah. And it'd be like 3 weeks, sure enough, 4 weeks later, I'm at GNC. I'm at 24 Hour Fitness. I'm at Red Brick Pizza. Right? I'm at Starbucks. I actually got fired from Starbucks because I wasn't like perky, right? So they ended up firing me from Starbucks. It was the only job I got fired at. No, I take that back. No, they wanted me to be like, hi, thank you for coming to Starbucks. What can I get you? Like one of that. And back then I was like this, I want to be cool type of guy. Thank you for coming to Starbucks. How can I help you? Right? That shit doesn't work, right? So I got fired from there, and then I got fired from a pizza place for eating brownies on the job, right? Special brownies, right? Ended up messing up a couple of orders. Some pizzas weren't delivered, and I got fired, right? But I say all this, guys, because I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like to be an employee. And I'm saying this because some of you are entrepreneurs, and your ass needs to be an employee. Some of you are employees, and you need to be entrepreneurs. But we don't know because, again, the secret power is know thyself. So we need to figure out who we are. See, some of us are sitting here, and we don't even know who the hell we are. We're like 50 years old. We haven't figured this shit out. And don't get me wrong, I haven't figured it out either. But I'm trying every single day. Every single day, I'm just getting a little bit closer, just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer. And here's the truth, we'll never catch it. That's what life is. But when I pass, I can at least say, I gave it my all. And my dad will look at me in the eyes and go, kid, you gave it your all. You fucking did it. Even though you may not be where you thought you would, you did it. And that's what this life is about, guys. But we got to learn to change the thoughts that are in our head. We got to learn to change the people that we are surrounding ourselves with. We got to learn to change the shit that is going on up here. Because if not, we're going to stay where we're at. Am I making sense here? Yes or no? All right, awesome. So I do got some notes in here let's go back to. So that was just on the top of my head. So another thing that really helps is because, we talk about affirmations and we talk about incantations. And this is all, it's fun. And you're like, Adrian, I get it. It's practical. I understand it. But how do we bridge it? And I believe, if you're taking notes, that visualization is the bridge from where you are to where you want to go. Visualization is the bridge to where you're at to where you want to go. And every single day when I was a kid, I would close my eyes and picture a bigger life. Till today, I close my eyes. You know what? Everybody for a quick second. This is probably not a good thing after lunch. But everybody for a quick second. Everybody for a quick second. I want you, matter of fact, no, we're going to do this. Everybody stand back up. Because if you're sitting down, you're going to go to sleep. You're sitting down, you're going to go to sleep. Everybody stand back up. Okay. While standing up, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes standing up, and I want you to picture you purchasing those units. I want you to picture a better life than today. I want you to picture a bigger and better, more passionate you. I want you to think about walking up and receiving the keys to the units that you just purchased. I want you to look at the building that you just bought. Stand outside of the building. Stand outside of your future home. For 2 seconds, let's just go there. I want you to think about the colors. What color is the house? What color is the car? Whatever you're thinking about, how does it make you feel? If you're seeing a bigger, more passionate you, how are you feeling? What is that like? Does that feel good? You see, it's putting ourselves there every single day that bridges the gap from where we are to where we want to go. And this tiny little 2-second experiment that you guys just did, if you did it every single day, your entire life will change. You will get there. There's a study that shows there's a 3-point. They did a test between college basketball team. And you guys know when people get to the 3-point line, they typically choke, right? They'll go to the 3-point line. You guys ever notice basketball? Like back then, they'll typically choke, right? That 3-point line, they'll typically choke. Well, what they did is they did an experiment. And they go, let's get one group of basketball team, and let's get them to focus on just practicing 3-pointers every single day. And then let's get the other basketball team, and let's get them just to visualize them making 3-pointers every single day. And then they went head-to-head. Who do you think made the most 3-pointers? The team that practiced or the team that visualized? It was the team that visualized, because visualization is the bridge between where we are and where we want to go. The 4-minute mile, if you guys ever watched the interview about the guy who broke the 4-minute mile, he saw himself in his mind breaking the 4-minute mile multiple times over before he broke the 4-minute mile. Now, a couple of decades ago, breaking the 4-minute mile was absolutely impossible. Do you guys remember that? I mean, I wasn't alive, but you guys remember that? Right, some of you remember that. Like the 4-minute mile was impossible to break. It was impossible to break. Impossible. But yet one person did it. Why? Not because they ran every day. I mean, I'm sure they practiced, but that wasn't the key. The key is that they closed their eyes and they saw themselves do it. All you have to do every day is just visualize where you want to go, and you will get there. And if that is you, just give yourself a round of applause. You guys can take a seat. So there's visualization. And then, to bring this all full forward, we hear hypnotizing. We hear this thing called hypnotation, going into hypnosis. Do you guys know that that's what you're doing when you close your eyes and visualize? Do you guys know when you close your eyes and visualize and you start to say affirmations to yourself and you start to say incantations to yourself, that's exactly what you're doing? That's exactly what you're doing. But here's the problem. And if you're taking notes, write this down. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity is the enemy of execution. You see, we over-fucking-complicate all of this. And there's no kids in this room, right? Is there any kids in this room? We are cussing. Right? Sorry, nobody explained that this was going to be an explicit talk. So, enemy is the execution is the, I'm sorry. There you go. See, you're paying attention. Complexity, I was testing you. Complexity is the enemy of execution. The more we complex things, the more we try to overcomplicate things, that's why we don't get to where we want to go. You guys, it's very simple. Let's talk to ourselves positively. Let's say some affirmations that change our state. Let's visualize where we want to go. And then does anybody want to guess the fourth one? You do it. What Michael Zuber says. What rule in the ORAT rule is do the work. Number 1, do the work. After we do 1, 2, and 3, after that, we got to go do the work. Because as much as that guy visualized the 4-minute mile, he wouldn't have broke the 4-minute mile unless he actually went and ran the damn 4-minute mile. And some of you are visualizing those units. You're visualizing a bigger life from you, but yet your ass stays at home every day. And that's what needs to change. You see, once we connect the dots and we start taking the action, then all of a sudden God starts pouring into our lives. All of a sudden things start changing. All of a sudden, deals start getting accepted. All of a sudden, our kids are a little bit nicer to us. Our wife, our husband is a little bit nicer. Why? Because we're starting to work on us. In order for your life to change, you got to change. In order for your life to get better, you got to get better. And to think that I'm going to leave this up to Michael Zuber's channel is nothing more than a hallucination. For you to think that I'm going to leave this up to someone to my right or to my left or to my mom or to my dad or to my spouse or to my kid is a hallucination. We got to take the action. It's up to each and every single one of you. And here's the good thing. You could change it. Just like that. You got to make the conscious decision. You guys following what I'm saying? Fantastic. So I read something and it was pretty good. It said, the good news is that the bad news can be turned into good news when you change your attitude. You see, the next portion of this is a little thing called attitude. And if you're taking notes, your attitude, we've heard this, I think it's Lance Armstrong that said this, your attitude, and I can completely butcher that, but your attitude equals your altitude. How you see that attitude, the way you show up every day is how far you're going to get. And this is all in alignment because I can't have a good attitude unless I'm talking to myself correctly. I can't have a good attitude unless I close my eyes and visualize myself having a better attitude. Am I making sense here? I got to ask y'all a question. How many of you have a bad attitude when things go poorly? Like you lose a deal and you have a bad attitude. Show of hands. Like you lose a deal and you have a bad attitude. Do you guys know what happens when I lose a deal? Miracle alert from our buddy Thatch. Because there's two ways to see the world. I think it's Albert Einstein that said this. There's two ways to see the world. One is through everything's a miracle. And the other is through nothing's a miracle. And the way I see things is everything is a miracle, brother. Everything. I lose a deal. I lose money. It's a miracle. It's a freaking miracle. You know, I thought I was cool and started investing out of state, right? I'm from Southern California, and I'm like, I'm going to go invest out of state. This is a great idea. And I started investing out of state. And when I started investing out of state, I hired this contractor. Just curious, by show of hands, anybody ever hire the wrong contractor? By show of hands? Yeah, there we go. So I hired this contractor, right? And the contractor wanted to partner with me on some deals. So I did a deal with him, made like 60 grand. Cool, let's do it. Well, my dumbass goes and gives them $255,000 to go renovate 2 properties. Does anybody want to guess where he went? Still can't find his ass. Still can't find him. Hired so many different attorneys, private investigators, nobody can find him. He's vanished. $255,000 gone. And here's the thing. That was borrowed money. That wasn't even my freaking money, Ty. That was a private money loan. That was a private money loan that I just lost. Oh, and guess what? The properties, they still got to be remodeled. Oh, and by the way, not only did he buy 3 in Arizona, we bought 1 in North Dakota. I don't even know where the hell, to mention this town, I don't even know where the fuck it's at. I don't even know where it's at. No idea. Now, let me ask you all a question. Had I not worked on myself, had I not did the affirmations, had I not did the incantations, had I not visualized a better life, do you think I would have just given in the towel when that shit happened? Most definitely. And guess what happened when that happened? Miracle alert, baby. Miracle alert. I'm never going to do that shit again. That ain't going to happen again. And guess what? Because I see things as everything is a miracle, because I see that life happens for us and not to us, I got myself out of it. A couple of years later, after a couple of gray hairs at 25, 26 years old, I climbed my way out of it. I was 26 at the time. Just started investing into real estate. I thought I had a golden spoon, Ty. I did 2 good deals. I'm like, I got this shit. I know what I'm doing. Psych. Whoops. My bad. And so, guess what happens? It happens again. But not with the contractor. You see, last year, in November, December, January, February, and March, I lose 100 grand, 98 grand, 120 grand, 80 grand, 65 grand. Back to back. Back to back. Back to back. Back to back. Can't tell my wife. No freaking way you're telling your wife. She's pregnant. That shit ain't happening, right? There's no way that's happening, right? And so guess what happens? I have to remember my training. Life happens for me, not to me. I remember my training. I hit up my partner, Nick. Hey, dude, we need 50 grand. I'm 300 grand in. I need 50 grand from you. Oh, and by the way, we have a marketing budget coming up because at the time we were running a $90,000 marketing budget every single month. Oh, and we have a $90,000 marketing budget coming up. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to figure this out. Miracle alert. Miracle alert. I'm so grateful that happened. And I'm going to tell a little story. I'm grateful that it happened because prior to that, I was not being my true, authentic self. You see, I thought that I can be an Instagram guru. You see, I thought that I can go out and do all these podcasts, not focus on my business, make a whole bunch of Instagram videos, neglect my business, and focus on helping everyone else's business because I wanted to be a quote-unquote coach, because I wanted to be a guru. Anybody ever try to be a guru in this world? You got to go build a business before you do that, in my opinion. Now, there's some people that, obviously didn't, and kudos to them. But I didn't even have a self-sustained business. And I went and started to become this guru, started to teach all these other people what to do. And don't get me wrong, I'm pretty good at it. But I got away from my core focus. My core focus was my real estate career. My core focus was sales. My core focus was marketing. Why am I telling you this? Because some of us are getting away from our core focus right now by being somebody that we're not. I was being somebody that I was not. And every time you be somebody that you're not, God has a weird way of just punching you right in the mouth. And as Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And that's exactly what happened. So I tell this story because some of you are not playing your true, authentic self. I love what Sean said today. I freaking love it because he's so true. We have to be our true, authentic self. And when we're our true, authentic self and we connect all these dots that I'm telling you guys, all these dots, eventually something great happens. And you guys, prior to this loss, I've probably had 2 or 3 other ones prior to that. 100K loss here. Eddie and I lost like $295,000 at a house in Compton, right? Things happen, but they happen for you. Because I would not be standing on Michael's stage today if I didn't go through that. You would not be in this room if you didn't go through all the ish that you've been through. So let's give thanks to it. And let's actually clap it up for all the shit that has happened in our life. How much time do I have? Okay, all right. So then, I'll wrap it up here. I want you just to think about, and I want you to write down a couple of people that can hold you accountable to this. I want you to think about, and I want you to write down some thoughts. I want you to write down some actions that have been holding you back. And then what I want you to do is I want you to just cross out everything that's been holding you back. And every single day, guys, when you have a bad thought, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and cross it out. Get the piece of paper, tear it up into a million pieces. One thing I found is when we can do little activities that break our pattern, little activities that can get these thoughts out of our head, these are little connectors that help. Because one thing I'm going to tell you, this is what's going to happen. You're going to start your journey. You're going to start incantations. You're going to start some affirmations. You're going to start visualizing. You're going to go through this path. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be this little voice inside of you that says, you're fucking crazy. You can't do that. No way. And what you have to learn to do is you have to learn to break that pattern. I learned this from Tony Robbins. You got to learn to break that pattern, write it down, and either shed the letter up, light it on fire. There are times where I'm driving and I have a negative thought in my mind, and I'll grab that thought, literally, and I'll throw it on the freeway and imagine a car running over that thought, and you'll be surprised on these little tricks that work. These are little tricks that you can do. Our office is literally on the water in Dana, and there's times where I'll have bad data point. I'll have bad thoughts, and I'll throw my thoughts out, and I'll see a shark. I know this sounds kiddish, but I'll throw the words out, and I see a shark eating the words, and I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck those words. They're gone, right? And then after I do that, thank you. And then after I do that, I have to reinforce it with the new powerful thought. So if for some reason the thought is, you're not good enough or you're not tall enough, whatever the case may be, I reinforce it the reason why I'm short is the reason why I'm so goddamn powerful. The reason why I've lost all that money is the reason why I'm going to get to where I need to go. And you reinforce it with the new thought. And then you hold on to that thought. Cool? That helpful? Well, I appreciate all you guys for playing all out. Thank you so much.
I think I got it right again. Morning session after lunch. So, yeah, we're going to do live Q&A. We got about 20 minutes. There should be a line, probably go 3, 4, 5 deep. Let's go. Questions? Y'all are that tired? Come on now. Let's go.
I just yelled at you for 10 minutes.
That's right.
30 minutes. You got to have some sort of energy. Let's go.
What's going on?
What's up, brother?
Adrian. So one of the questions that I had around visualization, I was kind of in and out, so I apologize if I didn't hear this part. Did you mention anything about vision boards, or was it just supposed to?
Yeah, I actually wrote that down. I didn't even get to it. I have vision boards. Michael and I talk about vision boards on his channel quite often. So I have, what's cool is my first vision board, I'll never forget accomplishing the entire board, right? So for me, I'm a real visual person, so vision boards are huge. And what you want to do is you not just want to create a vision board for the next 1 or 2 years, but I want you guys to dream big and create like a 10, 20, 30-year vision board. You know, I got this vision board of like just some insane stuff, right? Insane. My wife looks at it like, are you fucking crazy? And I'm like, because if not, I want you guys to remember this. Either you get very specific with what you want out of life, or you will get the leftovers of everybody who was specific. I don't know about you, but I really don't like leftovers. I'd rather have a hot meal, I mean, unless it's like pizza, right? But I'd rather have like a hot meal versus a cold meal left over. And some of us, we just get the cold over leftover stuff because we weren't certain with what we want. And you got to be ultra specific. Like, you know, eventually I want like a specific car. I know the interior color. I know the color of the paint. I know the type of wheels. Like, I'm that specific, because if not, I mean, I may get the Ferrari, but it may have no engine. Right? Yeah. It's a joke. All right. Some of you got it. Thank you.
So, and then the other thing I was going to ask, like, I'm starting to kind of see, like, especially to the point about affirmations, does it matter, like, try to, like, record it and then just, like, constantly play it back?
Most definitely. I forgot who says this, but it's like Erin Nightingale or one of the key guys. They say create a recording, create like a 10-second recording of you talking to yourself positively, and then listen to that every single day. I think they call it a success tape or something. I'm going to butcher the word. But you, in essence, like, this is so good. Thank you for answering this question. Record yourself talking to yourself positively. Record your positive affirmations, and then listen to themselves while you're driving. Listen while you're at the gym, right? Because it's your own voice. And remember, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So when you're hearing yourself, it reinforces it even stronger, right? Such a beautiful question.
Yeah, and that was like the I guess point behind it was like more like, you know, the things like when you're driving or like doing like I hate using the phrase, but like mindless chores,
right,
where you're not really like focused and fully engaged. That's where I was kind of thinking, like, could that be like...
Most definitely. And some of us, we need to drop the music and listen to audiobooks. Like when I'm driving, I have a 90-10 rule. 90% audiobook, 90% Michael Zuber's channel, 90% all the good stuff, and then every now and then I'll listen to some Tupac and Biggie and mix it up, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I'm listening to something positive, right? And then I'll jump into back that thing up, right? And then I'll go back to something more positive, right?
Awesome.
90-10 rule, yeah.
Definitely appreciate it, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
First of all, good presentation. I was just wondering if you could talk about, I know this is getting a little personal, how did you lose all that money over and over again? And obviously, you know, you're a successful guy, and I've lost money. It's shitty, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But just to maybe help us, you know, what'd you learn from that and not make those mistakes again? Because it's a shitload of money.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, your scale, you know, you probably have a bigger portfolio than me, and that's, you know, why you lost so much money. But that's pretty much it. Yeah.
When you swing big, there's oftentimes you lose big, and you just got to recognize it. I swing big. I take some big risks, right? And because of those big risks, I've lost some big money. But also because of those risks, I've made a lot of money. And what I've noticed is the big swings, they always pay off. They always pay off as long as you keep swinging. As long as you keep swinging. You see, if I take a big swing and I lose and I stop swinging, I have a problem. But as long as I keep swinging, I'm fine. Now, so our risk tolerance are all different. I happen to have a very high risk tolerance. I talked to Joe D. Joe D's like, dude, you're fucking insane, bro. Like, now I'm bringing my risk tolerance down. I have a 16-month-old baby. You know, there's no way. I now have a big mortgage. I can't do that shit anymore, right? So the risks are a little bit more methodical. They're a little bit more thought out. Where when I was in my 20s, dude, I was just taking just big swings. So what I learned is there's times and seasons for everything. Some of you can take some big swings. Some of you got a lot on your plate. You got to be careful with the swing that you take. But the key is, what I've learned is you keep swinging.
Was it bad, like timing of the market? I mean,
Hiring the wrong people,
yeah,
buying the wrong deals. You know, a lot of it was also distraction because I was so focused on other things that I would just be like, oh yeah, buy the deal, without realizing what I was buying, right? Because I was so focused. Again, I took my focus away from where I was at, and before you know it, I'm losing money because I'm so focused on something I'm trying to be that I'm really not, right? So one of the big lessons I've learned is don't try to be somebody you're not, and know what you're good at. I'm good at sales, and I'm good at marketing. That's what I need. That's where my ass needs to stay, right? And then when we accumulate enough and I eventually have the right team, right, then I can start venturing out and doing other things. But I was venturing out without even knowing how to swim. I was like barely treading water, and I'm over here trying to swim from California to Catalina. It's not going to happen.
And another thing, the positive affirmations, you're a big positive affirmation and positive self-talk guy, which, I'm learning that that's super important. Is that to counteract a lot of negative thoughts that you have? Is that, I'm not saying overcompensating, that sounds negative.
Yeah.
But is it, do you need that? Otherwise, are you just going to be a miserable mess? Or is it just,
Well, I need that because this is very important. He goes, do you talk to yourself positively? Because if not, you can be a miserable mess. And yes, because I want you to think about this. When you turn on the news, how much more negative news than there is positive? Like 90%, right? You'll see a cat being saved one time, and then the rest is about all these killings and kidnappings and crazy shit that happen. So because the world is negative, you have to learn to be positive. Because I want you to think about, and this is actually a great analogy. I want you to think about this coffee cup. I want you to think about it being full, and you can tell I've had a lot of coffee today. It's nothing else but coffee, okay? Okay, I want you to think about this entire thing full of black coffee. That's all of the negative thoughts, okay? Let me ask you a question. How many cups of water will it take to completely get rid of this black coffee? If I kept pouring, clear water in, how many cups? 10 times the cups? 100 cups? 1,000? What do you think? 20, 10 plus? I would say like maybe 1,000 plus. But here's the thing. In life, we have this black cup of coffee, and every day, because of the people we hang out with, the people around us, the music, the news, the radio, more black coffee keeps getting poured in and poured in and poured in. So it's your job to put as much clear water into this cup as humanly possible, and that clear water is positive thoughts, positive affirmations, something that's going to get rid of this dark shit. And it's going to keep coming, and it's your job to keep pouring.
Thank you. Thanks for your honesty.
Hi.
I'm Athena.
Hi, I'm Adrian.
I was hoping you could elaborate a little more on being true to your authentic self, because sometimes I'll be doing something and it's difficult. I feel like I have to get out of my comfort zone, but those are the times when I really stretch myself that I grow. So how do you know when you're just totally out of whack or when you're just growing?
Such a great question. So she asked, how do we know when we're when we're stretching ourselves and maybe we feel a little uncomfortable and we're maybe a little confused? Is this not what I should really be doing? Is this not truly who I am? It's very simple. I just want you to put the thought on your heart and ask, does it resonate? Because Tony says this, when we're in our head, we're dead, but when we're in our heart, we're smart. And the heart always gives you the answer. Your intuition is the short word for entheo, which is the godlike within. Your intuition will speak to you. And when you're doing something, if you're telling yourself this is a little uncomfortable, you're on the right track. But if you're telling yourself this is not who I am, then that's how you know. And there's a lot of meditation that I have to do. I have to close my eyes and get the idea. And I literally have to put it here and go, is this who I really am, or am I just being a little bitch? Just being honest. And then I realized, no, I'm just being a little bitch. This is what you want to do. And then I move forward. I hope I answered that, but it really just comes from here, and it comes from your intuition, right? Being uncomfortable is fine, but being uncomfortable is fine. But when you feel like this is not who I am, this is actually bringing me away from happiness, this is pulling me away from my passion, then you'll know.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you.
So, just nobody better after lunch, right? Yeah. Just brings it. So here's your, I think your first championship belt. Let's go, baby. There you go. So stay right there.